Hello all my beautiful sisters from those other misters. Today I want to talk to you about this. This is the new Chi Chi highlighting and contouring palette. I've had this for a while. I went out and picked it up on the day it was released and I was excited. I had hype behind this. I was like, yeah, go and get me that palette. Now the palette comes in a hard card. It is really sturdy. It's got this beautiful like filigree pattern on the packaging with some rose goldish like detailing. It's got the pink Chi Chi logo. It's got a magnetic closure which is fairly sturdy. Open it up. There is no mirror. We've just got directions on how to use the shades. So if you're not a gun with the highlighting and the contouring, it's all good. Chi Chi's got you covered with some directions. Would I have preferred a mirror in there? Probably not, because I probably wouldn't use it, to be honest. I use a standalone like makeup mirror, so you know, some people might have liked a mirror, some people aren't going to care. I'm in the don't care basket. Now inside the palette you've got 8 shades. On this side we've got highlighting shades and on this side we've got contouring shades. Now depending on your skin tone, you may find that this palette does not work for you at all. You may find that it works perfectly. You can use all of the shades, but really it's going to come down to your skin tone and you knowing the sort of shades that will work for you. You might also find that some shades work for you while others you simply can't use. For me personally, I can use all of the shades in this palette. Now, I have used them today as well. I've contoured and I've bronzed with shades in this palette. I have also set my base with shades in this palette and I've highlighted with shades in this palette. So at this time of year, I have lost all of my summer tan. I still have a little bit of colour on my shoulders because they were intensely tanned, but my face is the white face that it is in winter. So I used shade 4 to set my foundation today. It works fine, it's great. Probably not going to be okay for me in summer though. Shade numbers 2 and 3, now these are yellow in tone. This number 2, you can use it as a setting powder or a highlighting powder, but it has yellow undertones. So if you have yellow undertones in your skin, that's going to work for you. This number 4, this is pink. It's pink based, but it's very neutral. So you can use it as either a highlighting shade if you have deeper pink undertone skin, or you can use it as a setting powder like I did. Now, number 3, straight up yellow powder. Personally, this looks weird on me. I can use it, but I have to do like other stuff with my foundation to make it work properly. If you are a fan of like banana powder, yellow powder, whatever, you're probably going to love it. It's probably going to be your jam. Personally, I don't find myself trying to reach for it all that often because I just can't be bothered. Shade number 1, this is straight up highlight, shimmery highlight. I am wearing it today. It is sort of a mixture between mirror reflect and like natural glow. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You can build it up to get a more intense like reflective look, or you can wear it softly for a soft glowy look. When you get over into the contour shades, you've got shade number 5 here, which is kind of like an all-over bronzing / contouring shade. If you're having a lazy day, you could take a big fluffy brush and just like go at it if you wanted to. Shade number 6, this is dead set, like don't try and use this to bronze your face. I did the first time I got it and it was a bad idea. I went in with shade 6 to contour and then without even thinking about it I dipped my brush back in there and I went into bronze up my forehead, and because this is grey toned it creates what looks to be a shadow. So you can probably imagine when you've got bronzer up here and it looks like a shadow, it actually looks like you've got dents in your head where there shouldn't be dents. It dead set, it looked like mum dropped me on my face too many times as a baby. Shades 7 and 8, you've got a more red toned, like you could use it as contour, or you can use it as a bronzer depending on your skin tone, and 8 is more on the orange spectrum. So again, it's going to depend on your skin tone. When I first got this, I still had a little bit of tan going on, and I could use them to bronze, so they were fine. Now I typically use 5, and sometimes I go in with a little bit of 7 or 8 depending on, you know, how I'm feeling, how deep I want it to be, and I might warm it up just a little bit. So you can really play around with it. You can really mix and match whatever you want to do with this palette. Now I think the most important thing to talk about with this palette is the formula. So like I said with the highlight, it's quite nice. It's very like, it's highlighty. You can go from glowy to quite full on. It builds very well. These 3 suppose setting or highlighting powders, these are really densely packed into the pans. When you're picking them up with a brush, they, like if you want to use this as a setting powder, which I can do, you got to pick up a lot of product, and there's a lot of dipping the brush back and forth into the pan. I feel like these are all really, they're densely packed into the pan, so they can be quite difficult to actually pick up product. As for the contours and the bronzers, these are beautiful. These are really pigmented. They blend beautifully. I would say that if you applied these straight to a foundation that hadn't been set with a powder, you're going to have a hard time blending them out. But otherwise, if you apply them to a set base, they blend beautifully, beautiful pigmentation. They definitely get the tick of approval for me. Alright, I'm going to show you guys some swatches of these shades just to give you an idea of how they go on, how they build, stuff like that. And you can see kind of what the deal is with these lighter shades in the palette. Alright, so we're going to swatch all 8 shades here. I'm just going to do single finger swatches so you can see how they go on. We'll start with shade number 1. This is the highlight. Then we have shade number 2. This is the yellow based setting powder. Shade number 3, this is the full-on yellow highlighting powder. Now we have shade number 4, this is the pink toned powder. We have shade number 5, which is kind of it's a bronzing or a contouring powder. We have shade number 6, this is full-on grey toned, only use it to contour. And here we have shades number 7 and 8, and you should use these depending on your skin tone and what you can wear basically. They are both very, very pigmented. Now I am going to go over shades 2 and 3 just to give you an idea of how they build. So this is shade number 2 and this is shade number 3. So you can see there, if you want to build these 2 shades up, you can by applying more product. Alright, so while we're swatching this palette, I'm also going to show you how the highlight looks when it's blended out. So with a single swatch, you can probably, well, I don't know, you might not be able to see. Swatch is a little bit chunky. The powder is very, very lightly pressed into the palette, so you pick up a lot of product even with the brush, but it doesn't really apply like this on the skin. When it's blended, you've got this slightly light base with a reflective sheen in there. So that's one layer. When you go in for a second layer, you can see that everything intensifies just a little bit. Still doesn't look powdery though, which is great. And if you go in yet again, that's when you start to get a little cray-cray. But it's there. It does have that slightly wet look with light reflection, but the white cast that it leaves, like the sort of pinkish white base that it's in, that starts to look a little bit more prominent. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up. Overall, I think this is a good palette. Now, it's $24.95. You can get it at Maya, you can get it online at Chi Chi. I've seen Target has it, but Target's doing some weird thing where I think they might be getting rid of some cosmetics. So I don't know what the deal is there. But for change from 25 bucks, I honestly think this is a good palette. If you can get it on sale, even better. But personally, these 4 shades here are what makes this a winning palette for me. These 4 here, I like the highlight, don't get me wrong, but it's not mind-blowing. It's, you know, it's just a nice basic highlighter. These 3 matte shades are kind of where it's like letting the team down a little bit, I suppose. Now, if number 4 wasn't packed so densely into the pan, it was easier to pick up product, you could use it as a setting powder easily, then, you know, it'd be great. Number 3, I mean, like I said, this is personal preference. I don't really use yellow powders, but if you do, you might love it. And the same goes for number 2, because it's more on the yellow spectrum. I can actually mix this in, especially with shade number 4 here, and create a more like neutral tone, especially for under the eyes and stuff like that, if I want to brighten up that area. So the palette as a whole is a good palette. I just wish these 3 weren't so densely packed in the pans. Alright guys, so that's it for the Chi Chi highlighting and contouring palette. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. You will be able to see up close swatches on the blog post. It'll be linked down below in the description box, so if that's what you're looking for, you can go find it there. I hope you enjoyed this video guys, and until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye.